But what if you want to go and do the testing of this program? How will you do it? Testing, why testing? Well, this is a small code, but maybe let's say you have created a big program and you want to go and test each and every line. How will you do that? You can't run this and test, isn't it? It's not even giving you a time. You need a system where I can go and run all these lines one by one and I can see how it is actually doing the calculation. Now, how to run this line by line? This is not for the front user. This is for us who have created this code, the developer. So the first thing which I'm now going to tell you how to run this step by step. Click on the view. Next to the project explorer here, toolbar. Click on standard. You may get this by default in your VBA because if you remember, I actually deselected them because I wanted to show you from the scratch. If you have it, good. Otherwise, you can get it from here. We require this standard toolbar. This is the standard toolbar. Why I need this? I'll tell you. The first reason is that I can now click on this and I can run this my program from here. Not for the user because I will not tell the user, to run the program from here. No, this is for us. Now see, I'm going to click on the F5. You see the macro is running. So now you know that there's another way which from where I can run the macro, which is the F5. Sorry, not the F5, but the standard toolbar. It's available where? In the view, and then standard. So if you don't have this, you can activate it, right? F5 is also the shortcut key. So I can even use F5. If you see this, F5 is also mentioned here in the end, right? So I'm here now, I say F5, see what happens. It's running, it's rewriting the code. I can use F5 also, right? Now, if I put my cursor here and I say F5, you see what happens, a window comes. So you shouldn't be calling me saying that there's something wrong happening. I'm pressing F5 or maybe I'm clicking on this button, but a pop-up is coming. This pop-up comes and then you can select the right macro and you can click on the run and you see it has a run. But why the pop-up has come? Because your cursor should always be between sub and end sub. Cursor is going to be away from these options, then it doesn't know which macro to fire. That's why it gives you the prompt. So I can put my cursor anywhere here, it doesn't matter. Anywhere here. The moment I press, you see macro fires, right? I go here and I press F5. Now see that? It doesn't know, right? So cursor should be blinking between sub and end sub. In fact, even if your cursor is blinking right on the sub, it's okay. Program will run. So don't think that there is some bug in your system. No. Okay, this is clear? Now, this is fine. This I can run it from here. Now you know it. Somebody asks you, you can give these options. But what about the testing? I can't go and do the testing using this F5. Neither. F5 nor this run or nor any of these methods because they take 1 second to run the macro. Now here comes the testing option for you. How to run this program line by line. We call it debugging. Debug the code. You know the bug means, right? Bug is generally insect. But while speaking in English, when we use the bug, we sort of say, it refers to something, is bothering you, troubling you. If I say you are bugging me a lot, what does that mean? I mean, you're creating a problem for me, right? So debugging is just to rectify that, just to resolve the issue. Debugging of the program means removing the code, removing every possible error from the code. So how will you do the debugging? If they ask you in your interview, we will do the debugging by using another toolbar which is called debug, and I will go and activate this. The moment I activate this, you see just below the standard toolbar this is coming. It automatically takes its place. And now this is what I need to step into. If you want to change the location of this, you can even, drag this on the just above this file edit also. But don't do that. It's not really required, right? I mean, you can move this. If by chance, let's say something happened and this is showing here. Look at this now. What happens? First of all, this is your standard toolbar. Why I know this is a standard toolbar? Because it has a F5 option. So that's a standard toolbar. Just after that, there's another toolbar. Look at the three dots. This is separating. This is the step into, which means debugging toolbar. Now, if you want these two next to each other, this should come below this, the first one. Yes, that should be the right approach, because for if I have to run this and let's say my window is like this, then if you think if you're comfortable, then fine. Otherwise, generally by default, most of the time you see this toolbar is coming over here. You can even move this out. You see debug toolbar, right? But we don't need that. So I just go and drag this and drop here. Make yourself comfortable with all these options today. Now we're going to click on this, guys, F8. Step into actually. F8 is a shortcut key. Going forward, we will use the shortcut key F8. But right now, see this. The moment I run this, there we go. Testing has begun. This yellow arrow will start telling us which line I'm going to execute. Right? Now wait a second. Now, let's say I have run the code and I want to cancel this. My friend has called me for a cup of tea. We'll do it later. Let's have a cup of tea. Now what do you want? You want to cancel this. How will you cancel this? You will cancel this from this reset. Just after this continue. Reset. The standard toolbar. There we go. So macro will be stopped. If you just want to keep this arrow over here and you want to go for a break, there's no problem. There's no problem at all, right? We are going to run this program once again. Step into, there we go. I will not use now step into, guys, because I have to every time click on this. I prefer F8. You should also F8. You see in the brackets, F8 is coming. So what is the shortcut key? F8 means. Now you know that. F8 refers to if they ask you to run the code step by step, right? So for this we have a debug toolbar, which is again under the view and the debug. Okay, or you can use the F8. This specific option is only for you, not for the user, right? But again, this option you can include in this category. How to run the macro, of course. This is also running of a macro, isn't it? But this is more of a testing actually. But still, it's running, right? So let's specify it. First thing is go in the A1 cell. Now how the syntax is written. Range, in the double quotes, you write A1 dot select. Look at this, your cursor is on A1. I can see that now. Now what if I have a maximize this screen as, I have this full screen as I was telling you. Now can you find out what is happening in the Excel? No. If you can't find it out, how will you know what is wrong with the code? If there's some error, right? So that's why you need to fit the screen like this. So you can see this also comfortably and you can see what is happening here also. And the screen will show you more lines because by default the font of this is smaller than what you're seeing because I have to teach you, so I have increased the font. When I go and write the programs, I generally keep this font smaller and I will tell you all this. Okay, now once you are on the A1, what is the next line? Active cell dot formula row 1 column 1 equals to month. What does that mean? Don't get into this formula R1 C1. When you go and write the program, you know what you will write? Active cell dot value equals to month. Simple. A1 is selected, so if I ask you in Excel, forget about the VBA. let's say I open this spreadsheet and you have appeared for the interview for basic Excel, and I say that, okay, tell me what is my present cell, what is my selected cell in Excel sheet right now in this demo sheet. What will you say? You will say A1 or not. How will you know? How will you know? Because of this cursor? Well, yes, but what if I put the cursor somewhere here, like this, and this is how the screen. Now, how will you tell? How will you tell now which is your active cell? You can see this address bar, small things. So whatever I select, that becomes active cell or not, tell me. Same way for VBA. So it says that in the active cell, please put here equals to month. So the moment I run this, you see you have the month. And then you remember I selected A2. Now whether you select A2 like with mouse or you press enter, doesn't matter. If you are on A2, this is what you have to write. Range in the double quotes A2 dot select. See that? Now what is your active cell? A2. What are you gonna write there? Jan. Now A3. Now Feb. Now A4. That becomes active cell March. Now B1. That becomes your active cell. Now B2. So this process goes like this. Understanding the point? Like this. Right? And remember, then we selected B2 again. We corrected it. Right? So it's corrected also. And then we are on the B3. After this, what happened? If you remember, we selected the discussion sheet. This is what it says. Sheets and the name of the sheet. You have to write the double quotes. Remember that, guys, because it is a text. So you will remember, you need to write this. See, if you look at here also, there are double quotes here. For numbers, you can remove the double quotes. That's fine. But even if they are there, it's okay. So now this will take me to the discussion sheet, as you see that. And then we selected the A1 of that sheet and we said that put the 6 here. And then we came back to our demo sheet. Sheets demo.select. That's it. Right? So now if I ask you how to select A20 cell, Chaitanya, tell me, if let's say I ask you write a syntax how to select the A20 cell, you can take the help of this code, no problem. Tell me what will be the syntax.
So range, bracket, double quote A20, double quote complete, bracket, and dot and select.
Absolutely. Right here. Range. I did not want to write the code here, but let's go with the flow. This is what you said, right? But if you do some typo error, then see, you find here something unusual. T remained capital and rest. Now let's say you still didn't get this, that what is happening here. That, I mean, why the T is coming capital. It's okay, no problem. When you run this program, now I'm going to press F8, okay, step by step. F8, there we go. You will get the error, and I'm gonna make you master in these errors, not today, but every error when it appears on your screen, you should be knowing what actually went wrong. This is how we will go and capture the errors and sort them out instead of going to the Google. Okay, anyways, I change this to select, and now let's run this. A20, right? So you can go on mute. Same way, if I have to select a sheet, that was the correct answer. Wonderful. Discussion. I go and write a discussion. You see, I'm writing discussion in a D capital. Here it's small d. Doesn't matter. Make sure you have you shouldn't be having a spelling mistake. I go and write here like this. Sheets discussion dot select. Is it going to run? Let's see that. First it selects A20, okay, then it goes to the discussion sheet. Wonderful. What if I want to come back to my demo sheet? Okay, no problem. There we go. I'm deliberately writing demo in capital. Okay, now run the code. Discussion and then demo. This is how it is. So we are comfortable with these two syntaxes.